Hey everyone, it is James. I just wanted to do a quick shout out to my friends over at Chicago Force. They have one of the best Star Wars book reading groups around, and so I just wanted to say hi to them. This week for James Reads the Star Wars Expanded Universe, I am reading Shatterpoint, starring Mace Windu. It is written by Matthew Stover. This came out in the Clone Wars era, and it is a pretty cool book. We've got some clone troopers here on the back. And so let's get started reading Shatterpoint. The focus of the story is Mace Windu. He is on his way back to a very savage world where his former master, Depa Billaba, has gone, but he runs into some local trouble. He's arrived on the planet and is going through some bio showers as all travelers do. He's undercover. At the far end of the showers, he walked into a situation. The dressing station was loud with turbine-driven air-jet dryers. The two Kubas in the comedy team, still naked, milled uncertainly in one corner. A large, surly-looking human in sun-bleached khakis and a military cap stood facing them, impressive arms folded across his equally impressive chest. He stared at the naked travelers with cold, unspecific threat. A smaller human in identical clothing rummaged through their bags, which were piled behind the large man's legs. The smaller man had a bag of his own, into which he dropped anything small and valuable. Both men had stun batons dangling from belt loops and blasters secured in snap-flap holsters. Mace nodded thoughtfully. The situation was clear enough. Based on who he was supposed to be, he should just ignore this. But cover or not, he was still a Jedi. The big one looked Mace over, head to toe and back again. His stare had the open insolence that came of being clothed and armed and facing someone who was naked and dripping wet. Here's another. Smart guy carried his own bag. The other rose and unlooped his stun baton. Sure, smart guy. Let's have the bag. Inspection. Come on. Mace stood still. Probi mist condensed to rivulets and trickled down his bare skin. I can read your mind, he said darkly. You only have 3 ideas, and all of them are wrong. Huh? Mace flipped up a thumb. You think being armed and ruthless means you can do whatever you want. He folded his thumb and flipped up his forefinger. You think nobody will stand up to you when they're naked. He folded that one down and flipped up the next. And you think you're going to look inside my bag. Oh, he's a funny one. The smaller man spun his stun baton and stepped towards him. He's not just smart, he's funny. The big man moved to his flank. Yeah, regular comedian. The comedians are over there. Mason inclined his head toward the faux Fian and his Katonak partner, naked and shivering in the corner. See the difference? Yeah. The big man flexed big hands. What are you supposed to be, then? I'm a prophet. Mace lowered his voice as though he sharing a secret. I can see the future. Sure you can. He set his stubble-smeared jaw and showed jagged yellow teeth. What do you see? You, Mace said. Bleeding. His expression might have been a smile if there had been any of the faintest hint of warmth in his eyes. The big man suddenly looked less confident. In this he could perhaps be excused. Like all successful predators, he was interested only in victims, certainly not in opponents, which was the purpose of his particular racket after all. Members of any sapient species who are culturally accustomed to wearing clothes would feel hesitant, uncertain, and vulnerable when caught naked, especially humans. Any normal person would stop to put on pants before throwing a punch. Mace Windu, in contrast, looked like he might know of uncertainty and vulnerability by reputation, but had never met either of them face to face. 188 centimeters of muscle and bone, absolutely still, absolutely relaxed. From his attitude, the probi mist that trickled down his naked skin might have been carbon fiber reinforced ceramic body armor. Do you have a move to make? Mace said. I'm in a hurry. The big man's gaze twitched sideways, and he said, Mace felt the pressure in the force over his left kidney and heard the sizzle of a triggered stun baton. He spun and caught the wrist of the smaller man with both hands, shoving the baton's sparking corona well clear with a twist that levered his face into the path of Mace's rising foot. The impact made a smack as wet and meaty as the snap of bone. The big man bellowed and lunged, and Mace stepped to one side and whip-cracked the smaller man's arm to spin his slackening body. Mace caught the small man's head in the palm of one hand and shoved it crisply into the big man's nose. The two men skidded in a tangle on the slippery, damp floor and went down. The baton spat lightning as it skittered into a corner. The smaller man lay limp. The big man's eyes spurted tears, and he sat on the floor, trying with both hands to massage his smashed nose into shape. Blood leaked through his fingers. Mace stood over him. Told you. The big man didn't seem impressed. Mace shrugged. A prophet, it was said, received no honor on his own world. Mace dressed silently while the other travelers reclaimed their belongings. The big man made no attempt to stop them or even to rise. Presently the smaller man stirred, moaned, and opened his eyes. As soon as they were focused well enough to see Mace still in the dressing station, he cursed and clawed at his holster flap, struggling to free his blaster. Mace looked at him. The man decided his blaster was better off where it was. "You don't know how much trouble you're in," he muttered sullenly as he settled back down on the floor, words blurred by his smashed mouth. He drew his knees up and wrapped his arms around them. "People who butch up with a capital militia don't live long around." The big man interrupted him with a cuff on the back of the head. "Shut it." Capital militia. Mace understood now. His face settled into a grim mask, and he finished buckling down his holster. "You're the police." The faux Fiahian mimed a pratfall. "You'd think they'd hired cops who weren't so clumsy, eh?" "Oh, I don't know, Foodie," the Katonak said in a characteristically slow, terminally relaxed voice. "They bounced real nice." Both Kubas worried something about slippery floors, inappropriate footwear, and unfortunate accidents. The cops scowled. Mace squatted in front of them. His right hand rested on the Power Five's butt. "It'd be a shame if somebody had a blaster malfunction," he said. "A slip, a fall, sure, it's embarrassing. It hurts. But you'll get over it in a day or two. If somebody's blaster accidentally went off while you fell," he shrugged, "how long would it take you to get over being dead?" The smaller cop started to spit back something venomous. The larger one interrupted him with another cuff. "We scan you," he growled. "Just go." Mace stood. "I remember when this was a nice town." He shouldered his kit bag and walked out into a blazing tropical afternoon. He passed under a dented rusty sign without looking up. The sign said, "Welcome to Pelek Ba." All right. Mace Windu has a nice warm homecoming. For more, check out Shatterpoint by Matthew Stover. It is full of Mace Windu fun. See you guys next time on James Reads the Star Wars Expanded Universe. Bye.